Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Shutt here for your weather update. And we're going to be tracking a wild weather ride here over the next few days. Our temperatures will climb back, likely even in the 60s the next 2 days, then come crashing back down in the 30s by Thursday. And we'll go from dealing with some rain, eventually some snow showers into Thursday, and yes, even potentially some thunderstorms on Wednesday. So a lot to map out. So without further ado, let's jump into things. We take a look at current temperatures across the Ohio Valley, and we are currently residing into the 30s across the area. Now, initially here early on tonight, our temperatures will likely fall into the mid to lower 30s. That's our temperature early on. And then we'll actually climb more mid upper 30s by tomorrow morning. So take how it feels right now, and it'll likely feel similar by the morning hours. Not much of a difference between early tonight and tomorrow morning, but we will likely end up technically a little warmer tomorrow morning with respect to what we're going to set up for here for the first half of tonight. We look back onto February now that we have our new month upon us. We're into the third day of our new month. But recapping what we had into February, we ended up on the warm and the wet side. Average temperature ending up 1.4 degrees above normal. Now, despite ending 1.4 degrees above normal with an average of 33.7 degrees, this actually goes down as the coldest February that we've had since 2021. So that gives you an idea of just how warm it's been into our February, certainly the past couple of winters, but even the past few in terms of our February, how mild it's been, that even while we ended up above normal, still the coldest that we've had here in several years. In terms of the precipitation, 2.89 inches was above normal by about 3/4 of an inch. Now, there's nothing noteworthy in terms of the average temperature or total precipitation. It's the 31st warmest, 26th wettest on record. So, nothing statistically significant with that. But it's worth mentioning that in terms of the total precipitation, this was the first month that we had with above normal precipitation since April of 2024. So it's been a long time since we've been dealing with precipitation either near normal, but certainly below normal for a lot of these months, dating back since the beginning of our drought there into that May to June. We started to see that lower rainfall amounts with respect to what we had certainly into April. That was our month when we dealt with flooding along the Ohio River, not once, but actually twice there in a matter of a couple weeks that we dealt with in April of last year. So it is, worth mentioning the first month above normal precipitation in a long time, April 2024. In terms of the snow measured, we ended up with 5.3 inches of snow measured. That's 5 below the normal of 10.3. So we dealt with a lot of precipitation, but that did not equate to a lot of snow that we had dealt with. And now that we're starting the new month, what we're going to be watching for here, looking towards going into the weekend, and not only tracking a wild weather ride, but it's worth mentioning as well that is upon us now that we're going to be springing forward. The daylight saving time begins. That is coming up this weekend. So we're noticing by this Sunday that sunset will be at 7:23 p.m. The sunset 6:22 p.m. on Saturday. Sunrise 7:43 Sunday. Sunrise is at 6:45 on Saturday. So yes, that is upon us. We are within a week away from that. That's occurring this Saturday night or Sunday morning, however you look at it, at 2 a.m. That's when we spring forward with the start of daylight saving time. And we look at those sunsets further down the stretch. This is with respect to Sunday. So 1 week from this Sunday on March 16th, 7:30. So we'll be past that 7:30 mark for our sunset for the second half of this month. By April 9th, 1 month from this Sunday, it'll be closer to 8 o'clock. It'll be around the middle of April. That's when we'll see that sunset past 8 o'clock. And then we'll be closer to even 8:30 in a couple months from this Sunday. At 8:26, the sun sets at May 9th, 2 months from this Sunday. So the signs of spring are coming. Like Lola says, spring is coming. Let's keep the warmer temperatures coming. Dan, good evening to you as well. Thank you both for tuning in. Appreciate it. What we've been tracking here so far for this evening, still rather chilly before our warm up. We have been tracking some precipitation moving into the region. Now, there's enough dry air in place that's keeping a lot of this precipitation at bay. Notice how it's even dissipating as it makes its way over our area. It maintains itself moving in, but you'll notice how that's tapered off as it's moved through our region. We're dealing with that dry air aloft, which is really hindering a lot of this precipitation actually reaching the ground. So it's falling, but a lot of it's evaporating before it reaches the ground. And this process does help cool us. So this is what we call evaporative cooling or wet bulbing. This is when we do see these temperatures can drop a bit as this process occurs. We're seeing here early tonight, and then that light southerly wind, a lot of cloud cover will actually bump those temperatures up, not by much, but again, likely at least a few degrees looking ahead going into tomorrow morning. So we'll start more mid upper 30s after dropping mid to lower 30s here early on tonight. And then we're on our way to around 60 degrees tomorrow afternoon and likely right back in the 60s Wednesday afternoon. I would foresee Wednesday actually ends up warmer with respect to your Tuesday. And notice again tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, it's a similar scenario. Temperatures initially fall upper 40s near 50, and then will climb likely mid-lower 50s going into daybreak. So it's not that it's a big difference, but it is worth mentioning it's a little warmer into these mornings with respect to what we're seeing early at night, not only tonight, but that's going to be the same story again tomorrow night. And Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised if we're dealing with temperatures even towards the mid-60s in some of these warmer locations. I think it's going to end up a bit warmer Wednesday with respect to what we're going to see tomorrow. But both days, it's both days unseasonably warm. It's a 20-degree difference with respect to what we had for today, and certainly going to be having that spring fever in full swing over the next couple of days. Thank you for your dedication to us and the viewer. I appreciate that, Patty. Thank you. Good evening, Renee. Good evening to all of you again. Thanks for tuning in. So let's jump into Futurecast because, as we all know, these 60s, they're not going to last, right? And with it is a cold front passage. And yes, we're going to track some precipitation with that frontal passage. But what we're seeing tonight, again, doesn't amount to much, if any, precipitation. We maintain mainly dry conditions, if not completely dry, thanks to that layer of dry air in place. That does not come into play, though, for the latter part of tomorrow night. This is when dry air is not going to be that factor. And we're actually going to be tracking rain breaking out. This is likely after midnight tomorrow night. So we spend the day tomorrow dry. So we get to enjoy our temperatures near, if not in the 60s. It's unseasonably warm and it's dry. So, that's certainly good news. It's not that we're dealing with rain for both days with unseasonably warm temperatures. We at least get that one day tomorrow where it's nice and we're dealing with a mix of sun and clouds, and it's going to be unseasonably warm, and we don't have to worry about any rain coming our way for the daytime tomorrow. It'll be after midnight tomorrow night, then that rain will likely break out, continuing occasionally into Wednesday morning. Now, the tail end of this precipitation will likely start to see that late morning, midday, we can see what we call the dry slot with this system, which can yield the return of some sunshine and drier conditions going into the latter part of the morning and midday time frame, but which is going to be crucial in determining how many, if any, thunderstorms we see come to fruition going into the afternoon. That's what we're going to be watching for, that potential then to deal with some thunderstorms in the afternoon. So it's going to be one of those situations where the more sunshine that we the more sunshine that we can deal with going into Wednesday afternoon, the better the odds. We're not only dealing with thunderstorms, but unfortunately, yes, we deal with that potential for some severe thunderstorms as well. So that's what we're going to be keeping a close eye on going into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. So it's one of those tests you could do yourself at home, right? You notice that not only is it dry, but you're seeing some sun break out. Then better the odds of not only dealing with thunderstorms, but possibly then some severe thunderstorms to contend with going into the afternoon hours on Wednesday. By Wednesday evening, then we're going to see a lot of this precipitation then taper off as we do look ahead going into Wednesday night. We're seeing that a lot of this, thunderstorms taper off. We're dealing with still some lingering showers. We'll notice that rain to snow transition. Then that's what we're going to notice going into the day on Thursday. And then we're dealing likely with some snow showers Thursday. So how about that? We'll deal with dealing with some precipitation from rain, some thunderstorms possibly in the mix, and then to snow. So bring out the memes of the Ohio weather, right, or the Ohio Valley weather. Excited for nicer weather. Thanks. You're welcome, Shelly. It is going to be nice, isn't it? The next couple of days, it is certainly going to be nice to deal with some of those warmer temperatures coming our way. It is certainly going to be nice to see some of those 60s in the mix. Looks like it's wanting me to. I apologize here for the abrupt stop here of the graphics. It looks like we're going to need to update something real quick. So if you can bear with me. Okay, I think we're back. Let's see if we're back. I think we're back in business. All right. I apologize. Nothing like the technology wanting to update you right when you're doing your weather update. All right, here we go. Hey, look, we're back in business. We're moving. All right, future cast. So here, like I was saying before we were a little sidetracked. So there's our showers then continuing again, maybe some thunderstorms. There's our transition. So notice those rain showers will go to some snow showers then from Tuesday night into Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then we'll deal with some snow showers around throughout the day on Thursday. So yeah, this is a wild weather ride. The fact that we could be dealing with rain, thunderstorms, and then snow showers, and likely don't amount to much, if anything, for snow accumulations, but even that potential for a coating of snow right after dealing with that potential for severe weather. And yes, it's a wild weather ride. I don't think there's any other way to put it coming our way as we do look ahead throughout this week. And then temperatures will continue to trend on the cooler side. Certainly nothing in the 60s again going into the weekend as we do look ahead. So in terms of precipitation amounts we can get during this stretch, we'll deal with precipitation amounts on a widespread scale. It's likely closer to around 1/2 inch. Of course, what can skew this higher on a local scale is going to be that potential for thunderstorms. Thankfully, it doesn't look like we're dealing with enough rain in our area to cause any alarm bells for flooding concerns. Thankfully, that looks to remain at bay. I think, again, the bigger impact we're going to be watching for during this stretch is, we're seeing gusty winds in general during this, but there is that potential to deal with some of these high winds contained within these thunderstorms that could develop into Wednesday afternoon. And we're dealing with that potential then to deal with, a tornado is possible, some isolated large hail. The threats certainly all on the table, unfortunately, going into the afternoon, evening hours on Wednesday. Again, the real test is how much of that sunshine and drying conditions can we get going into the afternoon. If we can get enough sun to break out, then the concern's certainly there. It's a bit conditional situation setting up. It's certainly, this is not a high chance of it occurring, right? The confidence is not there to say that this is guaranteed to happen. But if we can get that sun, we can get those dry conditions, and yes, unfortunately, these thunderstorms that do happen to develop in the afternoon can become severe. So we're going to watch for that severe threat Wednesday afternoon into the evening. We'll deal with that rain again breaking out for the latter part of tomorrow going into Wednesday morning. Thankfully, flooding concerns should be at bay, but we do have severe thunderstorm concerns Wednesday afternoon, evening, and the snow showers Thursday, again, do not look that impactful, but we could end up with at least something light there in terms of accumulations. Not that it's amounting to much, but at least something light is possible with those snow showers falling throughout the day on Thursday. By the time we get into the weekend, temperatures do rebound a little bit with respect to Thursday, but obviously there's no mild temperature there. It's still rather chilly Friday through the weekend. We could deal with more rain, snow than Friday night and into Saturday. Again, we'll watch for that potential for impacts during that stretch. A little too early to call anything in that regard. Well, not that it would be anything major, but we'll still watch into that time period. By Sunday into Monday, then we look to quiet down and temperatures start to rebound a little bit at that point, and then we'll climb back likely 50s, if not 60s, going into the middle of next week. Temperatures look to ramp up. So if you like the 60s, they disappear on us later this week, but it does look like they'll return into the middle of next week. Overall, this pattern's certainly just up and down for the most part. It does look like, though, our temperatures, when you average average these out, it does look like our temperatures can overall average above normal, which is exactly what we're seeing here over the next 10 days. It looks like we can see that play out here going into a good portion of this month. This month is favoring above normal temperatures. When we average all of these out, where we're dealing with more of these more seasonable to warm days rather than cold days. We have some in the mix. Thursday, of course, is the one here near term, but as you can see, most of these days look at our normal high around the mid 40s. Most of these days are that, if not warmer. So I think that's a good example of what we can be seeing, where overall this pattern does look above normal. It does look mild overall. Looking ahead here into March and dealing with unseasonably warm temperatures, likely more than the unseasonably cold temperatures, even going through the middle of this month. So it does look like what we're seeing, in terms of the unseasonably warm temperatures this week can carry over to next week. But of course, it doesn't mean we still can't see a cool down, which we could end up seeing into the following weekend, even despite dealing with temperatures in the 60s around the middle of next week. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Of course, tomorrow is going to be a good day to keep weather aware, tuning in on the forecast. Keep weather aware during the day itself, Wednesday, but it's just a good idea to keep an ear on the forecast going throughout tomorrow as we continue to keep an update on potential for thunderstorms into Wednesday afternoon, even that potential for severe thunderstorms. And during this time period as well, it's going to be dealing with some gusty winds. Those winds are starting to pick up going into Wednesday. I would deal with that breeze carrying over into Thursday. So that is something else to watch for. Wind gusts themselves could be in excess of 30, maybe 40 miles per hour. So we'll deal with just some gusty winds in general during that stretch. But certainly, unfortunately, that potential for damaging winds is there within thunderstorms if they could fire going into Wednesday afternoon. Lola says, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, I hope everyone had a wonderful day. And it was still on the chilly side today, but temperatures are starting to pick up, and we'll notice the temperatures really pick up the next 2 days. So certainly a good day to enjoy that weather tomorrow. Even get out again, one of those days you can go outside and enjoy the weather. I know it's maybe not so much this weekend, but yeah, tomorrow gonna be a good day to do that. Not so much on Wednesday. Again, you're gonna be dodging more rain Wednesday, but at least we don't have to worry about dodging it going throughout Tuesday. So not bad, right? We get one of these unseasonably warm days where we don't have to worry about the rain at all before we're going to be dodging more rain and maybe even thunderstorms on Wednesday. And then, well, back to the cold and snow by Thursday. A couple seasons in a matter of a few days, huh? Tis the season for that. That's for sure. We're getting into that time of the year where we're dealing with these wild weather roller coasters with these temperatures all over the place. Tis the season for it here in the Ohio Valley. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful night. You can tune in coming up here, News 9 at 10 on Fox 9. News 9 tonight at 11. I'll bring you the latest on the forecast. Then, of course, tune in right back here tomorrow for that next weather update. And I'll give you guys the latest on what we're going to be watching for going into your Wednesday and Thursday. And we'll continue to map out that active period there of weather over that 2-day stretch. All right, everyone. Have a good night.